Well, we're here inside of the 409th District Court, where just this morning a status conference was held for Patrick Crusius. Now, if you'll remember, he was in the federal court found guilty of mass murder and is serving 90 consecutive life sentences. But again, this is the state courthouse where a trial date still hasn't been set, and that's what we were expecting and hoping to see come from here. Now, this is the first time we've seen Patrick Crusius on camera since 2019. We saw him walk through these doors shackled and wearing an orange and white jumpsuit. We saw him walk through here shackled and making his way over here to the defense table, where he was sitting next to his two attorneys, and we did see lead attorney Joe Spencer speaking on his behalf, District Attorney Bill Hicks and his team sitting on this side, and it was an absolutely packed courtroom. We saw family members of some of the victims here in this area, and a very contentious status hearing. Now, we were hoping to leave here knowing when Patrick Crusius would finally stand trial for the state case. Now, that didn't happen, as the defense is alleging that there has been such a mishandling of this case that Patrick Crusius's rights have been violated, that there is no way it can be tried as a death penalty case. Where we were seeing a little more reaction was from some of the family members who I've seen coming to almost every one of these status conferences, which just keep happening and keep happening and keep happening, because the defense is saying that they need more time to go through all of the discovery that's been given to them by the state. Now, one thing that the judge did bring up to the defense was the difference between the federal and state case, which again, the state case being pushed and pushed and pushed. And the reason that the defense says that is because the way that the discovery has been presented and given to them is very different. Now, the federal, they say, was very organized, and that in the state, they've just been bombarded and bombarded and bombarded by discovery. They're also saying that the state is holding back some of the discovery. They were asking for surveillance videos, and one of the really, really big things that is why the judge is going to be postponing the status conference again and holding another conference to go through all the discovery is because Patrick Crusius' defense team is saying that his Sixth Amendment rights have been violated. Now, they filed a motion saying that there were 15 phone calls that were between Patrick Crusius and his attorneys, which should be private, as again, you do have that privilege between attorney and client. And the Yvonne Rosales administration, which was the administration that came in before Hicks, did record some of those. So there's 3.5 hours of phone calls between Patrick Crusius and his attorneys that, again, should be private, that the state did have. Now, Judge Sam Medrano did say that that was a really big point of contention and a really, really big allegation. And again, one of the reasons why they're going to be holding another conference to just go through every single item of the discovery and see what still exists, what doesn't, what's duplicated. And because of this, he's been telling both the state and the defense to be ready to come in at 9 in the morning and be here the whole day as they go throughout all of that. Now, again, we were talking a little bit earlier about the families. And while we were outside, we did see one of the family members who his mother was shot and his aunt was killed during the Walmart shooting. Now, I asked him if he felt that he's been failed by the system, because again, it's been 5 years since the shooting that took place on August 3rd inside of a Walmart in 2019, and we still haven't had a trial date set for this case in the state. And he says that that's exactly how he feels. He feels that he's been failed and that justice just hasn't been served, and he is asking for the death penalty. He wants to see Patrick Crusius. He actually says that he wants to see him buried under this courthouse, and that all of this is not about him, it's about the families and how the families have been failed. And that all of the attention has been on who's done what, who hasn't done what here with both the defense and the state, but that the real victims are the families and again, the people who lost their lives on August 3rd, and that they just keep having to relive things and relive things and relive things again, as they keep having to come to a status conference after status conference after status conference, and so much so that he felt the need to violate a gag order that has been placed to make sure that things are not leaving this courtroom.